Hello, 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 everybody. Happy Friday. I am so sorry I am late today. I had my device all set up and charging, but what I didn't realize this is that some little gremlin, aka one of my children, unplugged my cord in the wall. So I was charging nothing. So I'm sorry. Thanks for waiting for me. Hi, Melissa. Happy Friday. Thanks for joining. Hi, Marcy. Oh, hi. Oh, thanks for joining me today. All right, I'm just going to make sure I'm in the right place, and I must be if you have found me, and make sure you can hear me. And once I know you can see me and hear me, oh, and you can hear me, I'll get started. All right, so today I am going to share a couple of projects with you using the Nature's Harvest bundle. It's so pretty. It took me a while to buy into this one. Hi, Morgan. Happy Friday. Yay, the weekend's almost here. I hope you have a fun weekend planned. I'm going to be working all weekend. I do work another job other than my Stampin' Up business, so I will be there this weekend. Hopefully I can still get some Stampin' Up things done, but you just never know, so I don't count on it. So I hope you have something fun. Hi, Caitlin. Thanks for joining. Oh, it's so fun to be with all of you today. All right, so since I started a little bit late, I think I'm going to get started because I have quite a few announcements before we jump into our cards today, but this is what we're going to make. Aren't these beautiful? Look at this paper. Oh, I love it. This paper is actually something you can get free, and I don't think it's going to last long. And then we're going to make this card. And when we do this card, I'm going to share some coloring tips with you. Can you see how fun it's shaded? So pretty. And I don't know if you can see the shimmer, but the flowers are shimmery. I'm going to show you how I did all those things. So let's get started. Okay, so some announcements today. Just a reminder, and I think you all probably know this, but the July to December mini catalog and Sale-A-Bration has started. Sale-A-Bration is always a really exciting time because you get free stuff with your purchases and there's no limit to how much you can get. So this is the first time Stampin' Up! Has done a second Sale-A-Bration. For the last few years, we've done Sale-A-Bration from January to either February or March. And this year, we've added a second one that's for the remaining weeks of August through the end of September. So August 3rd through September 30th. And this catalog is packed full of really great things. And we are going to be using this Be Dazzling Specialty Paper today on the first card that we're going to make. And the catalog just does not do it justice. Do you see how it looks there? Well, this is how it looks in real life. Isn't that amazing? It's so sparkly. And it's not glitter. So it's clean. It does not shed. You can die cut it. You can just use it in strips, and you can color it a million different colors. So it's really exciting. I'm using it gold today because I just wanted to make a very simple card. I wanted to show you a very simple card and then a card that's not hard but has a few more steps to it so that you can see a little variety using the Nature's Harvest bundle. So this is what we're going to use today. So you can choose a celebration item free with each $50 in Stampin' Up! Products you purchase until the end of September. And like I had mentioned, there's no limit. So there are 3 different designer series papers. There's the specialty paper we'll use today. And then I think there's like maybe 4 stamp sets and then a couple sets of dies. So fun stuff in here. And then of course the mini catalog, which is your holiday items, lots of Christmas. This is the 2021 July to December catalog. Oh, this is the Harvest Meadow product suite. This is what we're going to be using today with this Nature's Harvest bundle. We're going to use some of this specialty cork. We're going to use this gorgeous Harvest Meadow designer series paper on our projects. Very pretty. It's very pretty. So you have until the end of December to enjoy shopping from this catalog. Now, during Sale-A-Bration, There's actually 3 different ways that you can earn during Sale-A-Bration. You can shop, you can host, or you can join. And we talked about the shopping, how you can earn something free with each 50. And a couple of the items in here are free with a $100 item. And I'm going to be, or order, I'm sorry, I'm going to be using several of these items throughout the upcoming few weeks. You can earn during Sale-A-Bration by hosting. So if you host, which means you can gather some friends, we can meet in person, or you can just meet up with some friends and see if they need any Stampin' Up! Items. You can get this, in your words, stamp set free. It's really a cool set. I used it last week. Free, in addition to your other items, when you hit a $300 threshold, whether you order yourself or order with friends. And then with joining, you get something free. So this is a really amazing joining offer with this Sale-A-Bration. If you think you would like to shop discounted any day of the week, all the time, hey Julie, thanks for joining. Happy Friday. Or if you would like to join me with my team, we have fun, we get together, we stamp together, we enjoy events together, we have all kinds of fun. You don't necessarily have to do Facebook Lives on Friday or host events, although you certainly can, and I'm here to support you if you want to do that. I would welcome you to join alongside me to do those things. But you get to choose a bundle in addition to the already amazing starter kit deal, which is any $125 worth of Stampin' Up! Products you get to choose for only $99 plus tax. There's no shipping on it. Stampin' Up! Ships it to you free. During Sale-A-Bration, which goes until September 30th, if you join my team, in addition, you get to choose one of these bundles. There's 12 to choose from, and the Nature's Harvest bundle, which we will use today, is one of them. It's free in addition to what you would get in your starter kit. So these bundles range from $31 up to $60. So it's a really great value that Stampin' Up! Gives you as a welcoming gift during this Sale-A-Bration. So if that interests you, please reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions, or go to my blog, melzickyfingers.com. Click on Join the Fun. There's some more information there, and you can also just join right there. So I know you won't regret it. Just do it. You're going to love it. All right. So a few things I have going right now. I have my product share from the catalog going. Remember, there's 3 different options. There's designer series paper, there's ribbon, and there's specialty paper this time. So let's talk a little bit about this. So the designer series paper is going to give you 1/4 pack of all the new papers in the catalog. There is one that's carried over from last year. That's not included. It's just the new papers. But you will get 1/4 of a pack of all these beautiful papers, and this Harvest Meadow is what we're going to use today. It's really pretty, nice, soft fall colors with golds, blues, and oranges. And it includes the specialty papers like the Blackberry Beauty, which is beautiful. It has gold accents. There's the Whimsy and Wonder, which has iridescent foil accents on it. It's beautiful. You will get 1/4 pack of all of these. If you choose to get the ribbon share, here's all the beautiful ribbons. You will get 2 yards of each of these new ribbons in the ribbon share. And then this year, because we had so many specialty papers, I'm offering a specialty paper share, which will include some of the cork, which we'll use today. There's the beautiful shimmer vellum, which I don't know if you can see how shimmery and beautiful that is. There's craft paper. And then there's a pack of silver foil sheets, which are really pretty. There's 3 different colors of foil. There's a matte, and then a light and a dark brushed silver. And then there's this really cool velveteen sheet. So this is, it's very soft. It's like flocking or velvet. It's really neat to use with some of your winter sets or some of your Christmas sets. You could color it, you can stamp on it. So this will be in the specialty paper share. And if you choose all 3, I am going to add in a share that's going to include 19 pieces of the Sale-A-Bration items, which will be these 3 designer series papers as well as some of the Be Dazzling paper that we will use today. So if that interests you, again, go over to my blog. All the information is there with specifics of exactly the sizes and the quantities of each item that you're going to get, as well as a link to sign up. Deadline is August 15th. I will order everything, package it, and get it out to you. And optional shipping is available. All right. Upcoming classes. My next class is going to be on August 31st. It's going to be via Zoom. We are going to be using the Plentiful Plants bundle, which is the stamp and die set. It is going to include a kit, including some of the Bloom Where You're Planted products, including this adorable designer series paper. You will want the bundle or something similar if you have something similar on hand to complete the projects. And I will include your class kit, which will include everything you need for 10 projects. It's $42. Shipping is available. You can join from anywhere in the United States. So if that interests you, hop on over again to my blog, click on events. The information is there, as well as a link to sign up. Deadline is August 17th. I hope you join us. All right, and then the last thing I want to remind you, we have a new Simple Sweet Stampers tutorial bundle for the month of August, and the feature this month is all the Sale-A-Bration items. 12 different projects using all kinds of different items from Sale-A-Bration. The tutorial bundle gives you step-by-step instructions with dimensions. Here's a sneak peek of my project. This uses 3 Sale-A-Bration items: the sheep stamp set, the sheep dies, which coordinate, and then this is designer series paper from the beautifully penned designer series paper bundle. So this I offer to all my customers free with a purchase of at least $50. So during Sale-A-Bration, it's like you get to double dip. Not only do you get to choose a Sale-A-Bration item that Stampin' Up! Will gift you, I will be gifting you this tutorial bundle. My team also gets this tutorial bundle each month so that they can use it in their crafting. So just another perk of joining us for all the fun. All right, so that's all I have for now. Let's get stamping. All right, so these are the 2 projects we're going to make today using the Nature's Harvest product suite. We are going to start with this card because it's just kind of quick and fun. Hey, Kayla, thanks for joining. Happy Friday. I hope you have some fun weekend things planned. All right. So to create these cards, you're going to want the Nature's Harvest stamp and die bundle. And this set is really pretty. It didn't win me over initially, and I don't know how I even thought that I didn't need it because it's beautiful. I love the line art, and the fonts are really pretty. They have nice sentiments. And the die set is actually quite large. It's actually on 2 sheets when you get it. So you can see some of the dies cut out stamped images. You have 2 dies that create labels or tags which fit your sentiments. And then you have 4 different dies that cut out cool detailed images that coordinate with your stamps and the other dies. So we're going to use several of these today. We're going to start with using these 2 by simply cutting out foliage or floral pieces to include on our project. And we're going to use the Be Dazzling designer series paper to create these. Hey, hi Randy. Happy Friday. All right. So I'm going to leave these here. I am going to pull out the paper items that we're going to need. You will want a Misty Moonlight card base cut 5.5 by 8.5, so a standard card base scored at 4 1/4. You will want a piece of Night of Navy cardstock cut 3 3/4 by 5. And then this is a piece of the Harvest Meadow. That's not right, is it? I just said it, right? What did I do with my, here it is. Ah, it is right, Harvest Meadow. This is a piece of the Harvest Meadow Designer Series paper. And a lot of the papers are oranges and golds, but they have this pretty blue in there. There's a couple different blue pieces. There's also this pattern that's in the blues, which is really pretty. I guess it goes like that. It's got like a fall pattern to it. So there's two different blues to work with. We're going to use this one today. And you want to cut this just a tad smaller than your Night of Navy mat. So this is going to be cut 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. Then you're going to want a scrap of basic white to stamp your sentiment on, and we're going to die cut that. And then you will want a piece of the Be Dazzling Specialty Paper, which is your celebration item. And from this, we are going to cut these two dies to put on the front of our card for accents. All right. So let's get started by doing some die cutting. So I can die cut this at once. I'm going to stamp my sentiment. So for ink, we're going to use one ink today, Night of Navy, to coordinate with that mat. And I'm going to use the thank you sentiment from the Nature's Harvest stamp set. There's good luck, thank you, and then a couple of longer sentiments. I just want this really simple thank you. It's in a really nice font. So I'm just going to stamp this on this piece of scrap, basic white cardstock. I forgot my stamp cleaner. Uh-oh. And then I'm going to use this label here. This, it's kind of got some cropped corners on it. I'm going to use that to die cut my sentiment. So I'm going to put these, all three of these, through the die cutting machine, and I'll be right back. This specialty paper cuts surprisingly well. All right, now there is a little warning in the celebration brochure that this paper could dull your dies, but honestly, I have done a lot of die cutting. I don't think I've ever worn out a set of dies. Now, I suppose that's not to say it could happen, but I can guarantee you I won't wear out these dies. So I guess it just depends how much die cutting you're going to do with one particular die. And then this just pops out fairly easily. There, aren't these pretty? They're so beautiful. I hope you can see all the sparkle and how they catch the light. It's really, really pretty. All right. Now let's put this together. I'm going to set my dies here. So here's these pieces. Now let's work on our card base. So I'm going to fold this card base in half and use my bone folder to burnish it so it stays folded nice. And then I'm going to adhere these two layers together, my designer series paper on top of the Night of Navy. So I'm going to put a little multi-purpose liquid glue on the back of that. There we go. Now I'm going to use some beautiful gold ribbon. So this is one of the ribbons, one of the new ribbons from the mini catalog. It's gorgeous. It's very sparkly and it's really thin. It ties really nicely. So I'm just going to take this and kind of tie a bow. It's a little bit of a fake bow. It's like a half bow, but it gives it kind of a really neat look. So I'm going to take this, wrap it around, and leave it on the right side of this mat. Oops. I almost tied a knot there. See, I need just a little more. All right. So I'm going to put this through like I'm tying a bow, except I'm going to cut this. You have your loop here. Actually, I'm going to cut it on an angle like that. Then I'm just going to pull that out. So it's not really a loop on this side. It's just the two ends and the loop over here. It just gives it kind of a fun, different look instead of it being a full bow. All right. Now using dimensionals, I'll place this on my card front. So I'll put some on the back. Okay. We're already almost done, if you can believe it. This card is fast. All right, I'm just going to set this on the front. And then I'm going to slide these behind the ribbon, and you can position them however you want. I'm going to slide them in and kind of get them how I would like them. And then I'm going to put my adhesives down. So you're going to have all these little stems down on this part of the card. So you can slide this up. You could trim these if you wanted to, if you didn't like the way they looked. But I think I'm going to put it kind of like that. So once you get it how you want it, I'm going to use my take your pick tool and use this paper piercing end to slide some glue dots underneath. So I'm just going to slide this off, and then I'm going to take this and I'm going to slide the glue dots underneath this one, because I'm going to use some mini dimensionals to pop this one up. So you can roll this if you want to, so it's a little thinner, and you can kind of tuck it underneath just so it holds this in place so it doesn't fall out. If you want, you can slide another one under here too, but I didn't want to slide it under there quite yet because I don't want to stick this down until I know I'm done sliding this piece. So once you have it tacked down a little bit, you can take some mini dimensionals, and I'm going to peel that release paper off the top, and then I'm going to put this on here so that I can kind of slide it where I want it. So I'm going to double up on the dimensionals in a couple places because I kind of want this to pop up. So let's take off a couple, and then I'm just going to take this and put it right on top, and then see how it's double thick, and then I can put it back here and give this different layers of dimension. That's up a little higher than I want it. You can even kind of bend these, and I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to take the backing off two of these and then sandwich them together. And then I'm going to do that to this one over here too. There we go. So now you just have a couple different layers of dimension. Might be hard to see on the camera. So now I can come in here and kind of tack down this piece in a second place. Now, if you don't like these, you can trim these if you want to, if you don't want them sticking down like they are, or you can kind of move them if you want and put a little glue dot if you want them to be crisscrossed or to be sitting in a certain way. You can adjust them and tack them down. All right. Now the last thing we have to do is to add our sentiment, and I'm going to put it down there. Well, actually the second to the last thing. So I'll put a couple of dimensionals on this piece. And put it down here. And then to embellish this, I'm going to use some of the Brush Metallic Adhesive Back Dots. This is a new embellishment in the mini catalog. I've used these a lot. They're very pretty. They come in 3 different metallic finishes. And I'm just going to kind of place a few of these around just to kind of pull that gold. Just to kind of pull that gold through. Let's see. Maybe I'll put this down here. There we go. There. And there's your card. Very easy. All right, so let's make card 2. So card 2 uses a few more things. We're going to use a couple different patterns of the Harvest Meadow Designer Series paper. We're going to bring in this really cool cork specialty paper, stamp a little background. So the supplies we're going to use, we will use a standard 8.5 by 5.5 soft succulent cardstock scored at 4 1/4. We are going to use a piece of the Harvest Meadow Designer Series paper that we're going to die cut. And to create that background, I'm going to pull in the Nature's Thoughts dies because there's this really great label die that makes a nice background layer that has some decorative edge on it. So we're going to use that to die cut that piece. We're going to use a strip of cork specialty paper that's 2 inches by 5.5. We will use a 1 inch by 4 3/4 inch strip of the Calypso Coral pattern of the Harvest Meadow Designer Series paper. And then you will want a couple pieces of basic white. 1 piece big enough to cut our floral piece, and then a strip to stamp our sentiment. So to begin with, let's fold our card base and bring in our inks. For ink, we're going to use Calypso Coral, Memento Black, and Versamark, which is what we're going to use for the background. I'm going to use this cool background stamp, and we're going to create the background on our card base using the Versamark. Now, Versamark ink can be used for a lot of different things. I like using it for kind of some monochromatic backgrounds like this, where it kind of gives you a watermark or a tone-on-tone look. You can use this for heat embossing. It's sticky, so anything that you add to the ink before it dries, it's going to stick because it's sticky. You can see I use this pad a lot, and I've had it forever. And I'm just randomly stamping. There's no right or wrong way to how I'm doing this. All I'm doing is adding a pattern to the background so the background isn't quite so plain. And that's all I'm going to use the Versamark for. And as it dries, you're going to see more of the pattern show up. Now to this, I'm going to adhere the strip of cork paper, and I realize I didn't cut it all the way to the right length, which is fine. If I can find my adhesive. So I'll kind of guess where the bottom is going to be, maybe right about there. Okay. And then I'll just trim it with my scissors. And I'm just going to kind of slide it over to the one side, but you could put it in the center if you wanted. That looks straight. So now I'll just trim this. It's very thin. It seems like it would be thick since it's cork, but it's not. It's very thin and pliable. It's very soft. And in the cork texture, it's almost a little bit shimmery, and I don't know if that picks up on the camera, but it's really a cool specialty paper. All right, So now I'm going to take my piece of Harvest Meadow Designer Series paper and I'm going to use this Nature's Thoughts die to die cut a nice background piece to add to the card front. And this pattern is a little different than the one I used originally. The one I used originally is kind of like a grass or wheat pattern, and this one has these little fleur-de-lis, I guess, maybe. I'm not sure what you would call them. All right, and before I put this down on the paper, I'm going to take this strip of Calypso Coral and I'm going to adhere it to the left side of this piece, just to add a little bit of color. And then we will put this on with some dimensionals. So I'm going to flip it over, put some dimensionals on the back. Hey, hi Cheryl. Thanks for joining today. Happy Friday. I feel like the weeks roll around so quickly, don't they? Like I was just with you. Was I not just with you last Friday? In the blink of an eye, here we are again. All right, so I'm just going to place this kind of in the center of the card. You can line it up, you could set it, offset it, put it over further. You could really put it wherever you want. I'm just going to kind of set it where I think is the middle. All right, now let's work on our floral piece. So we are going to do a little bit of coloring today, and you could use a multitude of different mediums to color. We're going to stamp this floral cluster, and I'm going to use Memento black ink. Now Memento works with a lot of different coloring mediums. I like to really ink up my stamp well. This is a fabric pad. It's a little different than our colored pads. I agree, Cheryl. It just really goes fast. I'm going to flip it over and make sure I have it inked well, because you want all these little detailed lines to show through on the stamp. So I'm just going to ink it well and then stamp it on this basic white cardstock there, and that looks really great. So we'll cover this and get it out of our way. Now, you could use Stampin' Blends, you could use your watercolor pencils, you could use so many things to color this, but today I decided to pull out my watercolor pencils because I have not used these in a while. It was time. So we have two different sets of watercolor pencils. We have our original set, and then we have our watercolor pencils assortment 2. Oh, aren't they pretty? I love coneflowers too. We're going to color these today to kind of look like a yellow Shasta daisy. I think you can kind of pull it off, I think, even though you're right, they really do look like a coneflower. And this assortment too has a lot of colors in it that coordinate nicely with the Harvest Meadow Designer Series paper, and you can see all the colors down here. So there's 10 pencils in this set, and I believe there's 12 or 13 in the original set. And these come in a box, but I've put mine in a stamp case and printed out this little insert. I've had them in here for years, and I keep them in here with a sharpener so that if any of my pencils need to be sharpened, I have them right here. We are going to use the brown. We're going to use the Early Espresso out of the original collection. Other than that, we're going to use the assortment 2. So in this one, we are going to pull out the Crushed Curry, which is this one, and I'm going to pull out the Garden Green, which I think is this one. Yep, there's the name. And then I'm going to pull out the blue, the Balmy Blue, and you might be wondering why blue, but I'm going to show you why the blue, okay? So we're not going to get crazy with the coloring, but I am going to share some tips. Now, I like to use the blender pens with our watercolor pencils. However, you could use your water painters. Oh, thanks. Yes, I really like keeping them that way, Cheryl. Those stamp cases work really well. It's just the right size. So I'm going to use a blender pen to blend the color today. And then of course I decided to pull in a little Wink of Stella. Now you could even blend your pencils with your Wink of Stella if you wanted, but I feel I have the best control using the blender pen. So that's what I will show you today. So I like to put my color on. We're going to start with the flower. So I'm going to pull out oh, that's Cajun Craze. That's not the one I wanted. I wanted Crushed Curry. Well, let's get the right one. Here it is. Yep, that's the right one. Okay, so here's the name. The name is right on the pencil so that you know you're using the color you want. So I like to lay this on fairly heavy, and I am not going to color in my whole image. I'm going to add my color kind of right around the top of the petals, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to get a little bit of shading with this using the blender pen. And then this one is just kind of a bud, and I kind of want that to be dark. So I'm putting on, like I said, I'm putting a fair amount of color down first. Then I'm going to use my blender pen. Now, if you've never used these have a special solution in them. It's clear. See, there's no color. So it's used to blend either ink or your watercolor pencils. Once you color, you're going to have a tip. You can see there's a little staining on this, but if you scribble the tip off, you get all the extra color off and you're good to use the next color. So now that I've put some color down, I'm going to go over this, and you can see the color gets kind of smooth. It blends that together. Now I want my tips lighter, so I'm going to take this and I'm just going to rub the extra color off. Can you see how the color comes off? Until it's clear. Then I'm going to come back in and just drag that color just lightly down to the tips of the flower. And when you do that, you get some shading. I don't know if you can see the shading that I have been able to achieve on those petals. Then I'm going to do that to the other floral images as well. I'm just going to first blend in that color. I'm going to take the rest of the color off my tip so that it's clean. Then I'm just going to drag the color that's there down to the tip of the petal. Now this bud over here I want to be dark, so I'm not going to clean off my tip. I'm just going to use the color that's on there and spread it so you can see how I've still been able to achieve some shading, but it's more uniform in color than these petals. Whoops, I want a little more here. There we go. All right, now on to the next color. We are going to add some, all right, have a great weekend, Marcy. Thanks for joining. All right, so now we're going to use the same kind of technique to do the centers of these flowers. And I'm going to lay down a fairly heavy layer of the early espresso. And then I'm going to color it to soften it, rub off the excess, and then kind of drag it up into that so that you have kind of a lighter bit on the top than you do on the bottom. Okay. All right. Now let's move on to our foliage. So for the foliage, I'm going to use two colors. I'm going to use Garden Green and Balmy Blue. Now the reason why I'm bringing in Balmy Blue is because you can layer these colors together. So you can mix the green and the blue so that it creates more of a blue toned green to coordinate with the soft succulent. So the first thing I will do is I will come in, and I'm not going to really do shading. These are small spaces, so there's really not a lot of shading you can do. I'm going to come in and hit my stems first, and I'm just simply drawing a line with the color. Then I will come in and kind of go over that line and blend that pencil line. It softens the color. All right, I didn't clean off my tip yet because I'm coming back in and I'm going to add some garden green. And again, I'm not going to color the whole image, maybe just half of these leaves, because that in itself will give you a little shading. And then I'll come in and soften this and blend it with my blender pen. All right. And once I've done that, I'm going to add a little bit of blue, and the blue will help blend with the rest of the color so that it will blend in just a little nicer with the designer series paper, since it has some blue undertones. So I'm just kind of adding a blue streak down the middle of the stem. Maybe I'll add a little bit here too. And then I'm coming in with my blender pen, and I didn't clean the tip because I'm blending this color together. But I'm just going to blend in that balmy blue with the garden green, and it's going to give me more of a blue toned green. And I don't know if you can see that. Maybe I'll add some to the stem. There, now I'll clean off this tip. See, now it's clean, and I can put it away, and it's good to go. And each pen has 2 tips. The tips are exactly the same, but it gives you a lot of hours of coloring with these pens. They really do last a long time. Now that I have my coloring done, I'm just going to come in with my Wink of Stella and just add some shimmer, because why not? I love Wink of Stella. It's a must. Everyone should have Wink of Stella. The other thing that would be really amazing on these flowers is to come in and add some crystal effects to the tops of those flowers and really help them pop. All right, so once I've done this, I'm going to die cut this with my Harvest Meadows dies. I set them aside over here. Here they are. So this die cuts out the stamped image. So I'm going to lay that on top and die cut this. Okay, and that's going to go on our card front like that. And I'm going to put this on with some dimensionals. So I'm going to use these small ones, and I'm just going to kind of tuck them in all the little places where they fit to help this pop up. There we go. And then we just have our sentiment. So I'm going to use one of the longer sentiments to go across the front of this. I'll just kind of center this here. Now there's a couple of options. We could use the Sending Healing Thoughts, or a reminder to never forget how much you mean to me. I'm going to use the Sending Healing Thoughts, and I'm going to stamp it in the Calypso Coral to kind of bring in this little pop of color and blend it through the card a little bit. So I have a strip of basic white cardstock here. Whoops, I got it dirty on that. I better use that side. It's a good thing there's 2 sides to every piece of designer series paper, isn't it? All right, so here we go. So I'm going to ink this and see if I can stamp it straight on camera, because I'm not over the top of the... Oh yeah, I think that's okay. All right, so now we have a couple of options. So this die set has this really cool, nice long die. that I could certainly put on top of here and die cut. But I wanted to show you some of our really neat decorative edge punches. So we have 3 different punches that are like this for creating little banners with decorative edges. We have one that cuts a traditional flag end, or the opposite of it, and then we have 2 that do these really pretty ends. Now these punches cut out strips that are 1/2, 3/4, and 1 inch. So you get to pick the size of your strip of paper. And if the paper doesn't fit directly down in there, it's really okay. You open these and you just slide it in. This is a little easier with sentiments that are on longer pieces, but even if it doesn't fit right down in the groove, it's okay. You just slide it in, you can eyeball it, and you can punch. And see the neat end? It's just a little accent, just a nice little finishing touch on your project. So you slide your strip in, you can eyeball it on the back side, and then you just punch. Okay, so now you have these really pretty ends that are a nice finishing touch on your sentiment. And then I'm just going to put this down with a couple of dimensionals to help it sit nicely. If I can find where I place them. It's amazing how I wind up with such a disaster by the end of these little mini crafting sessions. All right. So let's just center this over the top here. Actually, I think I want it up just a little bit so that those stems, there we go. All right, and then to finish this off, I'm going to add a little bit of linen thread and some more of these gold dots. So this time, I think I'm going to use some of the copper tone dots because it'll kind of tie in nicely with the Calypso coral that we've added here. So I think maybe I'll put one there and maybe one over here, and then maybe I can tuck one down here in this little bit of foliage here. And then let's do a linen thread bow, and I think I'm going to double this because I just want it to be a little heavier since there's 3 flowers. I just double the thread and then tie it like I normally would. And then once you get the bow even in how you want it, you can just trim your loop here and trim your ends here. And then I'm just going to add that with a glue dot. And again, that knot is really little, so I'm going to take your pick tool and I'm going to roll up this glue dot. Remember how we did this last time? And I'm going to just put that glue dot where I want it, and then just put my bow, knot of my bow right on there. Then if you want to trim your ends a little more, you can. But there's our card. There you go. There's our second card for today. So this is our Nature's Harvest bundle using the Harvest Meadow Designer Series paper. It's so pretty. It's much prettier in person than in the catalog. So what do you think? Did this one catch your eye when you looked at the catalog? And hopefully by now you all have your catalogs. If for some reason it hasn't arrived because I mailed them some time ago, please let me know. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you live in the US, I would love to get a catalog to you so that you can shop and enjoy Stampin' Up! Products, which are amazing. And that's it. That's all I have today. So thank you for joining me. If you would like to get your items so that you can create your projects, hop on over to my online store, use this host code, shop with me. And if your purchase is at least $50, remember I'm going to send you the Simple Sweet Stampers tutorial bundle as my thank you when you use the host code. All right, so that's it for today. Thanks everyone for joining me. I appreciate it. I hope you have an awesome week, and we will see you next Friday. Have a great weekend.